Hello everyone. So in the previous video we have defined our resources as well as the table. So in this video we will define the routes file. So if you open the routes page, this is what you get by default. Now we will start writing our code. I will be explaining everything line by line when I write this code. So okay, we'll also include using genie, then genie.router, then genie.assets. So genie.router is to set up routes. We know we are dealing with routes obviously in WebSockets. We will have a default route inside which we will have two different channels, one for all the clients to log in and the other channel for the clients to send messages to each other. So we definitely need router for that. And genie.asset module is a genie package, is a module within the genie package and is specifically focused on handling web assets such as JavaScript, CSS and images. And it also provides functionality for managing and serving static files, then pre-compiling assets and handling asset pipelines. Okay, so this genie.assets will allow you to efficiently handle and serve the necessary resources for your web application. So that is why we need genie.asset. And then we have JSON, or we'll go there later. Like I'll tell you why we need JSON when I actually write that. So next we will go to genie So genie.config.websockets_server, we are setting it to true, and this enables the WebSockets server. So that is why we use this. Now next one is genie.config. We need to set our default router. So for that, we will be writing default route is equal to, I'll just name my default route as chat. So we have we have enabled WebSocket server as well as we have made our default route. Now we need to write using our resource modules. So I think my module name is messages and users. Okay, messages and using users. Now what we have to do is, okay, now instead of this thing, we have to write assets.channel support. You can call it a different route name as well, up to you, but I'm just calling assets.channel support under the /route. Okay, so assets.channels support. So in order to enable WebSockets communication in the browser, we need to load a JavaScript file. So this JavaScript file is provided by Genie through the assets module. Okay, so Genie makes it extremely easy for us to set up the WebSockets infrastructure on the client side by providing this thing, which is the assets.channel support. So that is why we use them. Now moving on. Now what we will do is we will create a dictionary where we will be storing all the information about the client. That is, we are not storing anything in the backend. So instead, whatever client information, that is the hash as well as the user ID, we will be storing them into the dictionary. So now we will name our channel. So this is going to be the channel where the users or the clients will be joining into our platform. The clients have to log in first, right? And then only they can send messages. So this is for that login channel. So first you have to mention your route, which is chat. Our default route is chat slash because it is something which the client, where the client, suppose there's a channel for the clients to log in. I'm naming it as join. Okay, do. Now we will mention. So I'm writing A is equal to params of WS client. Oh, okay. Sorry. Params of square bracket colon WS client. Okay, fine. Now, what this lines means is, so the expression params of square bracket colon WS underscore client accesses the value associated with the WS client key in the params function. Okay, I mean in the params dictionary, sorry. So this expression accesses the value associated with the WS client key in the params dictionary. So it assumes that the params function returns a dictionary-like object that supports indexing with square brackets. So there will be a key, that is a value that is associated with this thing in the params dictionary. So that is what we are getting and storing it in A, and that is the same thing which we are going to hash it. So we will write h, or because I'm going to hash it, I'm just naming hash is equal to hash of this unique value that is associated with all the clients. Now s is equal to, I'm just making it to string. Okay, now we have made it hash. Now next thing is we will extract the payload. So we will have something like ID in the payload. So we need to extract that. So in the when we're writing the send message to command line, we will have something like ID, which is the user ID. So we need to extract that, and I'm storing it in the variable ID. Now save this information. So whatever you have got here, yeah, save of user of hash is equal to s, because we know we have declared hash variable as a type of string. So that is why we converted the hashed thing into string, and uid is equal to id. Okay, now we have saved this information. Now d of s, so in the dictionary we are storing the information on the basis of hash. So s is the a string the hash that is converted to string. So based on that is going to be our key in the dictionary, is equal to a. So that particular hash is equal to this particular client. So it will be unique for each and every client. So this one line is what makes it more secure. It shows how much security we are giving. And then we'll just return s. This is just to show the hash, the string converted hash that you can see on the screen. Okay, so we have successfully completed our join channel. Save the file, and now we will create our messaging channel. So similarly, channel, write the default route name, and because I am going to send messages using this channel, I'm just naming it message. Now the same procedure, that is, we will be getting the key that is associated with, the value that is associated with the key WS client in the params dictionary, and converting it into hash and converting that hash into string. We'll be doing that, and if all these procedure is done successfully, we'll just print a success message. Now after that, what I'll be doing is I will be having 3 payloads here. So I'm just copying this also. One for receiver ID and one for SID and one for message. So SID and message. Okay. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll just put this S into a variable key. Okay, even if you didn't do that is fine. Now I will be checking if this user already exists in our platform, if this user is already there. So we're checking, like I've mentioned before, we're checking if this user is there in WhatsApp. Only then they can send message, right? So in the user model, I'm checking if there is someone like whose UID is equal to the sender's UID and whose hash is equal to key, which is the S only, the hash which is converted to string. So we're checking if such a user exists. If such a user doesn't exist, if that is empty, if such a user doesn't exist, what we're going to do is, okay, that user cannot send message. So we just write in the user doesn't exist. Okay. Now if the user exists, now if such a user whose UID is equal to sender ID and hash is equal to key, if such a user exists, what we are doing is, so if such a user exists, this user need to send a message to the receiver, right? So instead of just sending the message, we can actually send from whom this message is getting, that is the sender ID, and what the message is, which is the message, and to whom I'm supposed to send this, which is the RID, that is the person who is receiving their ID itself. So in order to give all these 3 informations, we will create a struct variable, okay, inside which we will define all these, and the struct variable as such you can send it to the user. Okay, obviously if you're just sending the message, that is fine. Message is already in string format, so you don't have to think of converting it and all. It's already in string. But when you want to send all the information about that message, it is easier to do that in the form of a struct, but this struct you need to convert it to string, which I will explain. So first we'll create a struct. I'll just name it details because it contains all details about the message. So I'm just naming RID and message, which is of type string, and an SID, which is again int. Yes, so our struct is done. Now what I will do in the else part is, so because such a sender exists, I'm just naming something like deets, like details. So is equal to details of, so details is our structure name, details of, in the order you have to give. So this particular receive RID which we have extracted from the payload, that you have to store in so it is RID, MSG, SID. So in the order you have to give. So RID, MSG and SID. Okay, MSG, SID. So this particular RID will go to this RID. So small RID is equal to capital RID. It will be in that form. And capital MSG is equal to small MSG. So whatever value we have extracted from the payload, that is all these three things, we are storing it to the variables inside that struct. And this struct as such, we will be sending it to the receiver, whoever it is. Okay, now as I've told you, if it was just the message, it is very easy to, send it. But now we have all three information about the message. So because now it is a struct, we need to convert this particular struct into string format. And that is why we need JSON. So JSON data, just some random variable, is equal to JSON dot JSON of this deets. So what this line of code will do is that, so we are converting the structure, that is the Julia object, which is the struct, that is the details here, we are converting that into a JSON object. So a JSON object is not considered a string itself. However, when working with the JSON data, it is often represented as a string. Okay, so JSON, it means JavaScript object notation, and is a lightweight data interchange format that uses a human readable text format to represent structured data. It consists of key value pairs, arrays, and other nested structures. In its raw form, it is not a string, but rather a data format. But what happens is that when transmitting or storing JSON data, it is commonly represented as a string. This means that a JSON object, including its keys, values, and nested structures, is enclosed within double quotes. So the JSON string can be passed to extract original data structures or serialized to a string for transmitting or storage. So when it is not a string itself, but it is often represented as a string. It is just like a dictionary in, it's just like a dictionary, like it is represented like there will be a key and a value, and this entire format of JSON object is represented as a string. So that is why we are converting it into JSON format, and for the same we need to include JSON here. Okay, now what we are going to do is, now we need to check if now we have already checked